Hi, it's Netiva again, and this is Lesson 3, Tackling Collections. In this lesson, you'll learn the law that governs the collection industry and how you can use this law to challenge the validity of collection items on your credit report. You'll learn how to negotiate payment in exchange from deletions and more. Aside from public records, collections are one of the most damaging items that can appear in your credit report. And they're very common, with 1 in every 3 Americans having at least one collection on their credit reports. My number one advice for handling collections is to know your consumer rights and the guidelines in which collectors must operate within in order to collect on a debt from you. To assist you in this, I've attached a summary of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which governs the collection agency industry. When dealing with collection agencies, it's important to remember that there's only so much that they can do when pursuing you for a debt. They can call and mail you in order to get you to make payment arrangements. They can report the debt on your credit report, which is one of their most common tactics, or they can sue you. So it's important to look up your statute of limitations prior to contacting a collection agency, either by phone or by mail. The law varies from state to state again, and it dictates the amount of time a creditor has to sue you for a judgment to garnish your wages, place a lien on your assets, or levy your bank accounts. If this time frame has passed, that collector becomes much easier to deal with. If this time frame has not passed, however, then that collection agency has power, and the only way to limit that power is to ensure that they can validate the debt according to federal and state guidelines. Section 809 of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act covers the federal guidelines on validation. However, each state has its own collection laws, and I thoroughly encourage you to review those, as it may detail further protections that may not only get a collector off your credit report, but can eliminate the debt altogether, which is the ideal situation. So there are 2 types of collectors that you'll deal with. The first one is a collector that has been assigned the debt by the original creditor, which means that the original creditor is still in ownership of the debt. The second one is a collector that has purchased the debt, whether from another collection agency or from the original creditor themselves. It's important to know ownership of the debt so you can plan your method of attack. For collectors that have been assigned the debt, there is no law that you have to do business with them. If the debt is valid, you simply write a letter to the collection agency stating that you refuse to do business with them, and you consult with the original creditor directly. We call this method the knockout, because we're knocking the collection agency completely out the way, and you're allowing yourself to make payment arrangements directly with the original creditor, whom you actually have a contractual agreement with. For collectors who have purchased the debt, you want to make sure that they have all of the required documents that prove that they have purchased the debt from the original creditor, or even a collection agency, and are the current owners of this debt. You want proof that you are the person whose debt they have purchased via an original contract, bearing your name and your signature, and personal contact information as well. You want proof that validates the amount that they are attempting to collect. Proof that they are licensed and bonded if required to collect in your state, and this is to name a few. These are just the federal requirements. Your state may require more. List those requirements as well. This is your legal right. If they are not able to fully validate the debt, then they must cease and desist all collection activities until they are able to do so. Guess what else collection activity is? Reporting on your credit report. So they have to stop doing that as well. That's how you get your removal. So what if they are able to validate? What's your next step? Well, simply put, you have to negotiate payment arrangements. If the debt is assigned, you can definitely use the knockout method and pay the original creditor directly. If the debt is truly valid and it's owned by this collection agency, then you do have to pay that collection agency. So the next question that I'm often asked is, how should I pay them? Should I pay them full, or should I try to negotiate a settlement? I am a huge fan of settling collection accounts. Simply put, once an account has gone to collections or has been charged off and assigned to a debt collector, the damage to your credit rating has already been done. So settling the debt at this point will not make it any more or any less damaging. Therefore, settle your little heart out. And while you're at it, try to negotiate a better credit rating. So for collections that are still reporting on your credit report, under the original creditor's name, try to get that account updated as paid as agreed versus settled or versus settled collection. So for collection accounts that have purchased the debt, you want to go for the full-blown deletion. A paid as agreed notation would do absolutely nothing for your credit scores. And I've actually left you tips on how to negotiate a pay for delete, whether you decide to do so over the phone or in writing. Ready to get started on tackling the collections on your credit report? Let's go!